Welcome back, all you amazing dinar investors. Let's look at today's news. The news is slowly creeping forward, slowly getting to the meat of it. Again, right now, I would just recommend just stay calm, remove all your emotions, stay grounded. Best way to do it, that way you don't get on an emotional roller coaster. We've got to see what's happening more into next week. Reason I say that, here's why. Um, right now, next week is looking a little more important for us, okay? For next week, they're saying that this coming Sunday, and I've seen from yesterday through this morning, I have seen 3 articles on that where they are suggesting that they might be voting on the president next Sunday. Again, got to take it with a grain of salt. They say this multiple times about many things, so you just have to let the news walk up to that, see what happens, and see how credible it is. Okay, we will have we'll have more accurate information on that as we approach Saturday. See if the news as of Saturday stays consistent with Sunday for potentially voting on the prime minister and so forth like that. So anyway, yesterday, I'm sorry, not yesterday, over the weekend, I kind of opened up, did a couple live videos for you guys, kind of started talking about peptides. I recently helped a girl who's a nurse, and I highly respect her for that because it makes my work. I'm not a doctor, but I'm very well researched. Just so you guys know, I do resell peptides. I jumped into it because I had rheumatoid arthritis, I had asthma. Within my first 3 weeks of doing peptides, my asthma that I was born with was completely gone. And then within about 4 months, I was able to get rid of my rheumatoid arthritis. And I feel the best I ever have. Also, the products are tremendous for losing weight versus doctors use what's called the GLP-1. In the peptide community, we use what's called more of a GLP-3. Okay. So, as you guys see, peptides are far superior. But again, I have doctors consulting with me now to get into my head to get the real information about these products because of how knowledgeable I am. I've researched these and have more information and a better understanding than what doctors have on these. Okay, doctors aren't even versed in natural health. Very few are. And then second, I'm able to resell these and help people. And my goal was to bring the price down, and that's what I've done. Compared to traditional resellers with websites across the internet, I'm far cheaper than all of them. That's where I'm able to help you guys out. Anyway, since I brought this up to you guys over the weekend, my communications, my email, my phone has blown up. That's cool. Again, I'm here to help you guys, but you guys are wanting a ton of information, and I've been reaching out helping you guys. So anyway, let's get into today's news, and then we'll get into your guys' comments to help you out because I see some comments where somewhere though you have to bring you also have to bring common sense and everything too. Okay. Anyway, and you can't trust everything you read and take everything you read as gospel, and a lot of people do that. Okay, and because I'm seeing comments right now that reveal that to me. Again, you can't take everything that they say as gospel. That's where it goes sideways from there. Anyway, let's get into today's news. I did a quick summary as to what did today's news cover. Again, since yesterday and through this morning, we've had about 3 articles suggesting they might have and hold a session of Parliament this Sunday to potentially vote on the president. We need to see how that news holds its position and if it stays consistent through Saturday. And then at the end of the day, we'll see what happens on Sunday on that, okay? So let's get into some other political news. It says right now, Iraq's Foreign Minister Fahd Hussein reiterated that forming a new government remains an internal matter, but Baghdad continues coordinating with international partners, especially the U.S. This comes amid the deadlock over selecting a new PM. The nomination of PM Nouri al-Maliki continues to be deeply contested despite U.S. opposition and threats of sanctions if he becomes PM again. Maliki said he will not withdraw his candidacy and is attempting to reassure Washington about security cooperation. Just keep in mind, guys, I'm sorry, Nouri al-Maliki actually owns some of the media news outlets. Just keep that in mind. So when you see news like where it says Nouri al-Maliki is going to maintain his candidacy and not withdraw, again, he owns some of the news outlets. Think about that. Another aspect of this is that I've already shown it to you guys proof, factually, those of you that are with me on Substack. Nouri al-Maliki, and I've covered some of it with over the weekend news as well, doing what I do for you guys live. Nouri al-Maliki does not have a 2/3 majority vote Again, he does not have a 2/3 majority vote to even be able to achieve and reach the PM position. He doesn't have the voting powers or the support for that, okay? This reflects continued political friction in Iraq's post-election negotiations with external actors like the U.S. actively engaged and influential. U.S.-Iraq relations regional diplomacy. The U.S. envoy Tom Barak praised the role of Mossad Barzani and Kurdistan regional leaders in helping de-escalate regional conflicts and supporting agreements in neighboring Syria. This underscores the U.S.'s emphasis on Iraqi cooperation in broader Middle East stability challenges. Political deadlock affecting public policy. Separate reporting notes that ongoing deadlock is delaying Iraq's national budget drafting, raising concerns about services, salaries, and a key governance risk tied to political stalemate. Now, keep in mind, they said in here, it's delaying Iraq's national budget drafting. They've already very clearly said in multiple articles that the budget cannot even get approved until after the formation of the government. Very simple, okay? Why? Because it needs the rate to change first. Budgets are calculated off of a currency value. Hear me carefully on this. Budgets are calculated off of a currency value. So until that new currency value exists, the budget cannot get approved. Okay, very simple. Economic news. Chevron Cooperation signed a significant deal with Iraq's Basra Oil Company to take over development of the giant West Qurna-2 oil field, previously operated by Russian Lukoil, which exited due to sanctions. Key implications. This strengthens U.S. energy involvement in Iraq. It aligns with Iraq's goal to increase production towards 6 million barrels per day by 2029. The cooperation still requires approval by Iraq's cabinet, relevant authorities. This arguably the most significant economic developments for Iraq today, tying energy strategy to geopolitics and investment flows. Iraq emerged as a top source market for visitors to Turkey, with over 58,000 Iraqis traveling to Turkey in January 26. Ranking just behind Saudi Arabia in regional arrivals, this highlights a growing tourism sector and remittance flows linked to travel. Important current and upcoming date schedules. 2026, Iraqi president, hold on. We don't, this is old news, we don't care about that, hold on. Budget drafting cycle. Iraq has yet to finalize the 2026 budget due to political delays. Yeah, I know that. I told you guys the formation of the government is what's going to resume the budget forward, okay? They can't pass a law without all aspects of that law existing. So what doesn't exist? The currency value that it would be calculated off of, called the rate change. Recent and relevant ongoing dates. The 49th Baghdad International Fair concluded. Okay, we don't care about that. That's old news. All right. Iraq's economic challenges, including tight fiscal space and pressures for reform, were highlighted by experts as part of Iraq's incoming government's agenda in February. Analysts say Iraq continues to sit at a geopolitical inflection point, balancing internal political gridlock with external pressures from major powers, including the U.S. and Iran. Political stalemate in the government formation, the Maliki candidacy at the center, foreign relations influence, especially with the U.S. and Kurdistan leadership, oil sector investment shifts towards U.S. energy firms, emerging tourism flows reflects broader economic activity, budget and reform timelines are tied to political resolution, which is exactly what I've been telling you right there, okay? So, as you guys see, this is not a real critical week for us. They're suggesting that the next major event might be, and they again, you can't take everything as gospel that they say. We've all learned that. They say things multiple times and never do it, okay? So, we're looking to see between now and Saturday how firm confirming the news is about the president possibly being voted on in a session of parliament next Sunday, okay? We'll see on that. Remember, though, Iraq pulled these crazy delays out of nowhere, suggesting that they're delaying the formation of the government because, again, the formation of the government is the linchpin to the rate change. So the actions suggest that the military tensions between the U.S. and Iran might be delaying the formation of the government / rate change. Think about that, okay? That's what they're suggesting, but we don't know. If you guys have any questions about peptides, all my information's all over these videos, and I can even post my email address on this for you guys. Let's look at this right here. Okay, hello from Ohio, hello from Michigan. This week has just started, and it sure has, Miss Jeannie. I thought Trump gave them until Friday to form a government. Well, JJT26, let's talk about that for a second. They said that. But remember, too, he gave them a deadline of, I think it was this past weekend, to also form the government, and that deadline came and went. But then they come out today with the second deadline saying, oh, now we're only going to give you till this Friday. So, was it last weekend or is it this next upcoming Friday? My point is they're all over the board. I don't recommend you take that information as gospel, solid, concrete information, okay? Take everything they say with a grain of salt. They're not, their news is all scripted, it's all over the board. And yeah, and Frederick Justice is saying, saw another USA deadline was given to this Friday on getting rid of Maliki, but again, they also gave another Maliki deadline over this past weekend, which came and went. That's my point. Do not take what they say as gospel. So, anyway, if you guys have any questions about peptides, please reach out. I'm more than willing to help you guys out. There's a peptide for everything health related, okay? There's some peptides specific for men, some specific for women. The weight loss products are phenomenal. They're far more superior than what doctors and big pharma make and even have access to. Because again, in the peptide world, we have access to GLP-3s. All that doctors have access to based on pharmaceutical products are GLP-1s, okay? The GLP-3s hit 2 additional receptors, making weight loss from the angle of peptides far more successful. Very good for you guys, and I'll help you out. Anyway, friends, thank you for joining. Hope you guys all have a great evening. Take care.